Hi everyone, this is Nitin from Electronics and Communication Department in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. I am here to present my technical seminar topic, Securing Instant Messages with Hardware-Based Cryptography and Authentication in Browser Extension. I am doing this technical seminar presentation under the guidance of Assistant Professor Manjudi, Department of Electronics and Communication. So we can see these are the contents for today's presentation, which will be consist of introduction, literature survey, methodology, results, application, conclusion, and references. To move on to an introduction part, so we should know that why we are using this instant messaging system and why we are using this cryptography technique in this instant messaging system and what are the features which consist of. The servicing for instant messaging system, which will provide and features like a group conversation and will provide near real-time communication for sending message to an users. And this instant messaging system provides security like confidentiality of the data and the integrity of the data as well as authenticity. And this instant messaging system may provide advantageous features such as near real-time communication, group chats, as well as support for attaching files into messages. As instant messaging applications are not applicable only to leisure, the mentioned users are distributed in various activity areas, which reinforces the demand for researching such systems. And this instant messaging system provide the increasing the security level like providing a public cryptography technique as well as digital signature technique, which will promote a way to check the messaging authenticity as well as confidentiality of the messages. A more secure implementation of this cryptography technique, which will be known as an end-to-end encryption. This end-to-end encryption messaging system providing the neither the server that stores the messages or any other devices which stores the message may pass capable of reading the content of the messages. And this instant messaging system to reduce this area, a good security measure to install and few applications as required to decreasing the chance of vulnerability. And these IAM clients can run the web environment and uses a browser extension to provide or to send the messages with the help of an hardware-based technique. And this is an objectives part of this technical seminar topic. The first objectives of this presentation is to propose a concept for a browser program that can protect instant message using hardware-based encryption and authentication. To discuss the weakness of this existing instant message security and options that needed for a stronger and safer approach. To explain the technological elements that should be consist in this instant messaging system should be an implemented of an hardware-based authentication and encryption. To make a recommendation for an improved user interfaces and additional security that safeguards the user-friendly solution as well as for further research in these areas to attempt and evaluate the effectiveness of this proposed remedy. And these are the papers which I have referred for my technical seminar topic, which will be mentioned here. I have referred for 5 papers for this today's presentation, as well as my gaining for my knowledge. And this is my methodology part. And this is how the working of this instant messaging system with the help of cryptography and the browser extension system will be mentioned here. The security of an instant messaging system has become a growing concern due to sensitive nature of the information that is transmitted through this system. By using this hardware-based cryptography authentication, the instant messaging system can ensure that the messages are an encrypted format, which will be only decrypted after the intended recipient will get the messages. This provides an high level confidentiality and the integrity for the messages, where this authentication involves the verifying the identity of the user to ensure that the only authorized user can access this instant messaging system. The primary concept of this project is data encryption. Means the main thing that we has confidentiality of the data who is sending the message to the users, or a sender send the message to an user, which it should be in the form of confidentiality. So it may not access by the another third party or other users, which will helps in the form of public key techniques to reduce the risk of the chances of access by another users. And this is how the block diagram works. That consists of these areas like confidential file preparation or RMA technique, and also an encrypted file, which all with the help of secret key, this consists of these files will be working. The first we can see the confidential file where which stores the data. It should be in the very encrypt, which should be is very important data, which should be stored in the confidential file. And this file preparation, which has two application to prepare a file to send the users, the file will be taken from the confidential file, where the RRMA algorithm, which will send the message, which should be in the form of hexadecimal format, wherever it taken from the confidential file, it sends the data to a receiver side, where it should be in the form of encrypted manner. A secret key, which uses used for the security purpose of the data. Either it should be in digital format or it should be in the public key format. The main thing we are using for secret key. And this is another side where the receiver can access the data, where the encrypted data which will transfer to the receiver side, which will be decrypted, and the user will uses the secret key, which are the sender you mentioned in the locking of the file, and where you can access the decrypted file with the help of RRMA for decryption. This is how the flow diagram will work, which consists of an user authentication, a browser extension communication, and message encryption, message decryption, key management, session management, and revocation management. Where user authentication must work for securing the mechanisms such as passwords, biometrics, and then the browser extension must communicate securely using these HTTP protocols. And this message encryption we are using for protecting the data from the users. Like device is compromised that the message is decrypted when the user receives the message. The key management ensure the key cannot be accessed or stolen from the users, which will be used for securing the data. The session management, the messaging system must manage user sessions securely to prevent unauthorized access. A revocation management, which works in the message system, must provide mechanism for revoking the cryptographic key. And these are the results that of my seminar topic. So we can see this is the converse JPG file where the Alice and Bob sends a message in the form of XMPP domain, where the data is set by the XMPP client and the server both before and after encrypted cryptography design has been implemented here. The encrypted message, which should be in the decrypted as shown in the user. And firstly, the message whichever the sender sends the message should be in the plain text format. Then later it should be used by the secret key. It should be sent to a user side, and it will be encrypted as well as decrypted in the confidential file. It will be further get the output as in the plain text format. It should be explained here, where the Bob's response may also be read in the plain text format, which the use of packet sniffer, the poisoning as the first dropper, in which Wireshark is used to disclose that the Bob has accepted the alias invitation. To display the XMPP packets, only a malicious traffic interpretation shows all the steps taken for the establishing the connection between the client and the server, and refers to the packets transmitted to the server. So this is the how this result part will work. To move on the application part, here we can use this in the various areas such as secure for communication. So we are already know that secure communication means the data should be in the form of confidentiality as well as the integrity. And this instant messaging system we are using for a financial transaction, like whenever we're sending money in the any apps such as GPay or PhonePay, we need to secure our transaction with the help of these cryptography techniques as well as and healthcare communication. We are using these cryptography techniques and legal communication like public users and government and military communication, where the military communication which mainly uses this type of techniques because different countries does not access or not to be access this type of communication wherever the during this war. So this is the conclusion of my seminar topic. This method uses of a hardware-based encryption services to provide authentication as well as secrecy and integrity to the messages shared. To taking an into account significance of this encoding messages in an instant message application, it was possible to create contact between an hardware-based cryptography system and an instant messaging software running in a user browser using a web extension and its API. This method is allowed for the encryption of the instant message content as well as the authenticity checking the digital certificates. And this architecture had a delay of a low order and has no adverse effect on this communication quality or speed. So these are the references which I referred for my seminar topic I mentioned here. Thank you for watching my video.